The main reason I went to Boston with Kyle was to collab with Chef Ming. I've never been to Boston before, and besides wanting to try some of the food staples here, we really didn't know what to do. Luckily, while we were backing up our footage at the hotel restaurant, one of the employees recognized me and asked if I wanted a list of places to check out while here. I was like, heck yeah. So this video is our journey of trying to cross off everything on the list. The first place we went to go check out was the Envoy Hotel, which has the Lookout Bar. She wrote down best view of Boston. We could see the bar from where we were walking across the bridge. Unfortunately, when we got there, we saw a really long line and we realized it's a place you probably need to make reservations. There was another place on the list called Row 34 that has seafood and a raw bar, and she said that it has an amazing seafood tower. Kyle looked it up and it was just an 8-minute walk away. We got to the restaurant and ordered a couple of drinks and the seafood tower. Poor Kyle gets carded everywhere he goes. The tower has cocktail shrimp, and to be honest, I forgot the names of the oysters, but I think there were 4 different types, and at the top of the tower were some chips and ceviche. I was eating oyster after oyster and then the shrimp. You can tell how much I like the oysters by looking at my plate compared to Kyle's. Then we realized there were some mussels in the center of the top tower. The seafood here was delicious. This was a solid suggestion and a great start to our tour. The next morning, I went to a coffee shop and got a little bit of editing done. I crossed off Row 34 and then met up with Kyle to start the next part of our journey. Heading to Back Bay / Newberry Street, Alix, who made the list, said there are a lot of restaurants and people watching, which I love to do, so this will be fun. This was about a 20-minute walk from our hotel. By the way, I love walking on my trips. Gives me a chance to see the beautiful cities and get my steps in. We made it to Newberry Street and there were stalls outside selling artwork and jewelry, and then we stumbled upon all the restaurants. We settled on Stephanie's on Newberry since it has a good people watching spot. I got some whiskey on the rocks and Kyle got, I don't remember. For food, I got the shakshuka and he got the New England clam chowder. People watching, shakshuka, whiskey. Crossed that off the list, and then we walked around for a little bit before finding the small Harry Potter store. The next place we decided to go on the list was East Boston / Maverick, where there's the Lewis Mall Harbor Park for the view, and she said there's a lot of Colombian food. I plugged it into Google Maps and we were on our way. It was about an 1.5-hour walk. There were a lot of duck boats driving around. We walked through a couple of beautiful parks and made it through without getting proposed to. Seemed like there were some tours and reenactments going on as well. So partway through the walk, I was looking at the map and realized we had to walk across the water. Well, not walk, but figure out how to get across the water. I don't understand the ferry system, and this was my first time in Boston, so we'll see how this goes. We got to the harbor and went to the ticket center for help.
How do you take a ferry to Boston Inner Harbor? We're trying to get to the Lewis Mall Harbor Park.
So I would take a water taxi. I'm going to give you the phone number if you want to get there by water.
A water taxi. What kind of boat is a water taxi? What do they use?
It's kind of, I don't know what the exact type is called, but it's kind of like a small.
Is it rocky?
No, it shouldn't be because it'll be right. It's still in the harbor.
Okay.
So where it's going, that ferry that it's trying to get you on, it's not going to actually go to that destination until 7:45.
Gotcha.
So if you call that number, it picks up in the same place. It's on the other side of the Marriott, down the silver ramp where the T sign is, stop 18. You can just tell them where you're trying to get to, and then you're at Long Wharf.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We paid for the trip and then we were on our way. I was a little nervous. I get pretty bad seasickness and I have no idea what a water taxi was, but it looked cool and it wasn't too bad when we got on the water. There was a small moment when I was a little worried because it started getting rocky, but man, the view was gorgeous. Then I was looking at the map and realized we were going way past our stop, or what we thought it was going to be.
Currently we're around the water. This is where we want to be. I think he's going to drop us off. I think he's going to do it over here somewhere actually. Which is fine, we can walk along. Get to Harbor Park. Goodbye, water taxi. Now we walk to the park.
When we got to the other side, we had about an hour walk to the park. We were parched, so we stopped by this cool looking brewery, Down East Cider. They had some fun flavors for their ciders. I signed my name in the bathroom, finished my beer sampler, and it was time to continue the journey. There was an event going on at the park along the way, and it seemed like everyone was having a great time. So the first thing we see when we come to the Lewis Mall Harbor Park is a water taxi, so we must have missed a stop or something. Got the wrong taxi. We saw this area that had music and what looked to be some food places, so we assumed that's where the Colombian food was, but we were wrong. It definitely wasn't Colombian food. It looked to be a cool place to get together with friends and family though, and I'm assuming that's where Alix said the good view was at. We walked the other way and found where all the restaurants were. We decided to check out Punto Rojo, and we tried their Típico Montanero that has steak, fried pork belly, rice, beans, fried sweet plantain, and egg, and also got their blood sausage. After crossing that amazing food off the list, we went to the train station to take it to our next destination, which was the first item on the list. We had to get off the first train and get onto another one, and I don't know if this happens often, but the power went out for a few minutes and I thought we'd get stuck. We got off at a stop that was about an hour from our destination because we wanted to walk some more. Just kidding, we must have gotten on the wrong train because it wasn't going to where we thought it was going.
Ah, sorry. The cat scared me.
We got to the Thai restaurant, which served small plates. The list said to try the beef massaman and rambutan salad. We also ordered the chicken capra and crispy pork. Cross that off the list and we have one thing left, the Envoy Hotel. Will we be able to get in on our last day in Boston? The next day I went and tried a bunch of Boston food staples, checked out the Old State House Museum, and then that night I ended up making a reservation for the Envoy because I really wanted to check everything on the list and wanted to make sure we got in. Turns out we probably didn't need the reservation because it was a Monday night, but I'm not complaining. The view is absolutely amazing and totally worth it. What a freaking great way to end the Boston trip. I want to give a big, ginormous thank you to Alix for putting together this list. It definitely made our trip 1,000 times better. It was like a little treasure hunt and allowed us to see so much of Boston in such a short time. For those of you from Boston, what are some other places I should check out the next time I'm back?